to us for free on YouTube. Listen, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? You've seen what we can do. You've seen the results. The results speak for themselves. It is absolute real trading, real killer, amazing stuff that we do over here. So come join us. Cowboy's going to flash that QR code. Flash it like it's a gang sign, Cowboy.
There it is.
There you go. That's your gateway to freedom. That's your gateway to financial independence. Click that link on the bottom, or scan that QR code and join algofactory.tech. Don't leave money on the table. Algo Factory. Trade your job, upgrade your life. Let's get into it, Cowboy.
Yeah, we got a special show today. I think we'll do a little bit of what I'm about to talk about here on the live, and then we'll actually do a bit more of it in the private chat. And what's happened is I've had our in-house coder put together my algo. So he's actually coded it in TradingView. So we get to see what that looks like. And then even behind the scenes now, we are working to improve it. We're adding filters. We're kind of just incrementally increasing the profitability. So it's pretty awesome. In fact, he's talking to me as we speak. Let me see here. Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the URL up on the screen. That's algofactory.tech. The the QR code is convenient, especially if you're looking at a computer screen. Take your phone, zap it, takes you to the website. But then here is the URL. So go ahead and dial that in, check it out. And as of now, we are live on YouTube. So if you go ahead and understand, we do this every single day, every weekday. That is not a holiday. And that is Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. EST. We go ahead and do 30 minutes for free of live lab. It's aimed at beginners, people who, are brand new to trading. We help people build algorithms to help them trade. And basically, an algorithm is not anything necessarily too complex. In fact, if people think of like an auto trader where it goes in and trades for you, and that is the kind of the aim, but the algorithm itself is not that. The algorithm itself is merely a trading method. So anybody who has consistent success trading, I would bet folding money is using an algorithm, because that's pretty much the only way you can have success in trading consistently. And so what we do is we help people build that basic trading skill, that basic trading understanding, and they build their own method, right? So we don't just hand you some method, say, hey, do this and you'll become a millionaire with this one easy trick. Like, no, that's not really what we're doing here. We want you to be able to build and refine and improve your own methods. That way, you don't need us after a while. You might be with us for however long that takes. Maybe with some people it's 6 months, maybe with some people it's a few years. It all depends on how hard you are willing to work, how much dedication you have towards that craft. We just give you the tools, and it is pretty awesome. I've been doing this a long time. It works great. And as a matter of fact, what we can show you is the product of that work. We're going to pop that up on the screen shortly. First, I'm going to send this link over to one of our Discords to get some people on there. Come join. I'm typing now, and I'm talking as I'm typing. Come join us live over on YouTube, so you can see my new algo programmed. Okay, so I just threw that up there, so we'll have a few people jump in. And as a matter of fact, we do have a few people watching. So if you're on YouTube, feel free to say hello, ask questions. If you're watching this afterward and you still have questions, you can go ahead and ask questions in the comments. We got Valley Girl in there. Terrific Tuesday to all. Thanks for coming on, Valley Girl. We appreciate that. And in the private chat, see if we have any questions or comments. Let's see here. None so far, but we do have people who are on and watching, as we always do. So it is the quieter time of the year for trading. So this is the middle of July, and pretty much this time through the end of summer, it can be quiet, but actually, from the look of the charts, it's not that quiet. There's actually plenty of volatility right now, which is a little atypical. It's really nice for those of us who, who like to trade all the time, and that's like me. There are plenty of opportunities, and usually it's like pretty flat this time of year, but I think there's enough going on in the financial world and, quite frankly, geopolitically, that's pushing price around enough for us to take advantage of that. V, am I kind of guessing properly on that? Do you think that that volatility is coming from some events going on, or what do you think?
Well, one of the things I talked about for many years, going back to 2012 when I came out of the closet, when I came onto the radio scene, excuse me. God, walked into that. It's not even Pride Month. I'm kidding. I'm not part of the Rainbow Mafia, but anyway.
Get off.
Yeah, I'm stopping. I'm stopping
Get
before
off.
I dig it further. I'm stopping right
If
now.
you're
I'm
not
pumping
part
the
of that,
brakes.
You need to be part of that, okay? We're LG 921468 plus 24. That's what we are here.
And we're 8611309 as well.
Yeah. 8675309.
Yeah, that's it. 8611. Where did I get that from?
I don't know.
Anyway, folks, the fat lady is starting to sing. The BRICS has officially announced. Been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years. Jim Willie's been saying it for even longer than I have. A gold-backed trade settlement, a trade note is coming out. They are announcing a gold-backed currency for trade. What that's going to do with gold prices is going to rock your cabeza like you would not believe. So there's a reason why Yellen went to China and literally was crapping in her depends. We are in a tantamount moment of real historical events. You guys are living history right now. You're witnessing it. It's incredible.
Yeah, good old Jim Willie. We haven't talked to him in a minute, have we?
No, it's been a while.
No. Actually, he's right here with me right now. Did you know that?
Oh, hey, Jim.
Hey, how you doing?
So what's your take, Jim, on the recent developments with the dollar and as well as the BRICS?
What do you mean, what's my take? It's the same thing I've been saying for 5 years. It's the same thing I've been saying for 15 years. You got two currencies now. You're going to have the dollar and you're going to have the Scheisse dollar. And Scheisse doesn't really mean shit. It's German for shit, but really it just means trash. And all they've been doing is giving you shit.
Bro, your Jim Willie impersonation is 100%. If I close my eyes, I can't tell the difference. That's how good it is.
Jim Willie, dude, he's solid.
Good.
Like,
Yeah,
you know, he's. I think he might trust the plan, but otherwise, he's pretty good.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jim, I miss him. Actually, I'm sure he's still out there doing his thing. You know.
Oh yeah, I think so.
So with all that going on, in fact, it would be interesting before we get too far into looking at the algorithm, we could take a quick look at gold. Let me go ahead and do a screen share. Yeah, Jim Willie. Just like he's a character, man. He's incensed. If you take my meaning, like he's just like he's on one.
Oh yeah,
on one. All right, so let's go to gold. I like gold. Like gold.
Gold.
Well, you wouldn't know it from the chart, but you know what? I bet you. Okay, so gosh, from October 22, gold has gone up about 28, 25, 30%. It was down at 1,600 just in October 22. That's less than a year ago, and it went up to about 2,000, 2,100. So that 16, that's about 450-ish, maybe 500 points more or less, or $500. So $500 from 16.5 to 3. Yeah, that's like 28%. So that's a big move in gold. And it's my guess, and I don't have visibility into the great crystal ball. I have some, I have a little visibility in crystal ball, because if I didn't, I wouldn't be very good at my job. But I don't have visibility into the machinations of what's happening, say at the CME or any of that. I'd imagine they're probably using their last ammo to push price down on gold right now, so it doesn't completely just go up. There's going to be a time though, and V, this is more your territory than mine, but there's going to be a time when this doesn't hold anymore. Which price is just going to break through this kind of 2100, moment.
Yeah. Now it's like, look. I mean, the West is pissed. I'm going to save this for Thursday. I'm gonna save it for Thursday. I'm sorry. Look,
save it for Thursday.
Yeah, if you're listening to me on YouTube right now, there are stuff that we talk about, and I give like little tidbits, little breadcrumbs. I only do that in AlgoFactory.tech. I only do that in the Algo Factory Live Labs. I don't even do it on Rogue because it's deemed TD. That's too dangerous. It's too dangerous for Rogue, and I can't do it on Rogue, man.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's every Thursday we do what's called a Drip Thursdays. So in our private group, what we do here is, like I said at the beginning of the show, we start this at 8:30 a.m. EST, where we kind of have a free to the public, basic beginners talk. We'll talk about anything. We'll look at charts. We'll talk about what we're talking about, like with gold, throw out some Jim Willie impersonations, things like that. And then we'll get into kind of the more privileged, if you will. And I don't mean legally privileged. I mean Algo Factory privileged information for our private groups. And on Thursday, that's when V kind of reveals things that he wouldn't even reveal anywhere else. Not on other people's shows, not on his own show, only in Algo Factory. So, there's there's some things in there that I'm like, twist my cat back, like, holy crap. Then I'm dead on the floor.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing. But from a charting standpoint, I am going to say here that this looks suspicious to me. Suspicious! Let's see here. Let's get my arrow out. My Jim Willie suspicion. All right. Where are my arrows, man? Where's my arrows? I spent the last 15 minutes listening to Theo Vaughn. That dude is so effing funny, dude.
Theo Vaughn's a legend.
Dude, he got me in a goofy ass mood. All right, so gold right now, though, if you look at it, it's range bound. Okay, so we look at the gold chart at least a few times a month, and of course we look at the high time frame because that tells us an awful lot. Just from this, you're looking at sort of a cup and handle, but it's like a distorted cup and handle. Let's do this right here. Love this music, yeah. So this is our cup. And it actually kind of broke the cup. It's almost like the cup and handle got shifted up. So I don't even know. It might not even be valid, to be honest. But given the way that the gold market is distorted, I might look at that and say, well, that might make a little sense. It's been suppressed for so long. This is going back to 2012, this chart. Just so you know, it's going way back to 2012. So, over this period of time, is it the CME that's been doing the at least is the place where the suppression happens? Is that it, V, the CME?
Yeah, the CME is where it happens, as well as the New York
London fix.
Yeah, the London fix sets the price, and then the suppression and the beat down the contracts, the futures contracts, happen at the New York Stock Exchange, the NYMEX, the New York Mercantile Exchange, and the CME as well.
The Reptile Exchange.
Yes.
But I would say, look, I'm just gonna say this, and I have no idea if what I'm saying is true, but it might be that as the last decade has wound out, so we have 2008 GFC, and of course gold. If we look back then, somebody knew something back in 2001. I'm gonna say 9/11 was the event, right? Because gold was way down to like $250 around 2000. 2001 happened, right? And I think that might have been an event. I know that our Dex would talk about 2001 as when the crash actually happened. That's how he looks at it. And he put it, and I don't want to take words out of his mouth, so he put it that gold went priceless on 9/11, 2001. Gold literally was priceless that day because, things happen and you couldn't buy gold anywhere because everybody thought, well, the U.S. was just attacked, so we're going to go to World War III. And, it might just be that that's what's going on right now with all these different conflicts and all these Middle East conflicts. And now we're, spilling into, Ukraine and all that. So, who knows? Well, history will play as it plays. But something happened and somebody knew something because gold really went up. And then, of course, we found out it was the BIS. it was who's that gold dealer Schechter? What's his name? Andy Schechtman, right?
That's right.
And I don't know much about him, but I do know he's a gold dealer, and he said he noticed that, he's putting the data together, that I think it was 2017, right here, where price actually headed down a bit. 2017, all of a sudden, central banks started buying more gold than they'd ever bought before, in an aggregate sense. Like, in a year or two, they bought more gold than they had in the prior 60 years. Correct. And then a year later, in 2018, and we covered this in a whole series over on the Rogue News podcast. I did like 3 or 4 Thursdays talking about the Bank for International Settlements, how that all works. But what ended up happening was, in 2018, a year after all these central banks really started buying the crap out of gold, all of a sudden the BIS raised gold from a tier 3 to a tier 1 asset. And that means that it went from a 50% value on the balance sheet to 100% value on the balance sheet. And what that means is that as a tier 3 asset, having $500 million in gold on your balance sheet, or I should say having $1 million in gold on your balance sheet, well, in your bank. Okay, gosh, I need to say this properly. Okay, if they had $1 billion in gold in their possession, if you will, then on their balance sheet it was only worth 500 million, right? So it's only worth half of its actual value on the balance sheet. All right, I said that right. Now, moving it to a tier 1 asset, raise that to 100%. So all these banks, they know the value of gold. They're not stupid. So they bought a bunch of gold, knowing that if they spent, let's just say, $50 billion on gold, they knew it was only going to be $25 billion in their asset sheet, right? They knew that, but they knew that was going to change. And then a year later, we're assuming they knew that was going to change because they bought more gold in that year or two than they had bought for 60 years aggregate. And all of a sudden, the following year, they changed the rule to double its value. I mean, that somebody knew something. So I'm looking at the chart here saying, okay, somebody knew something way back here in 2001, especially right here after 9/11. I think people got smart. And then all of a sudden you see this move up here where the central banks went ahead and jumped on board. So somebody knows something. We also know China and Russia have been producing and buying all the gold that they can get their hands on. And actually India is a player that a lot of people don't know about because India smartly stays quiet. They're kind of gangster like that. So I'm guessing that the distortion of this cup and handle may have something to do with people jumping on board and the information coming out. And then, of course, price broke out here, and perhaps it's being suppressed where these arrows are. I'm guessing that they're trying to knock the price of gold down at wherever they could to keep it from breaking out. Because if it ever broke out of this cup and handle, then the distortion notwithstanding, I mean, we're looking at easily a quick move to like $2,500. And quite possibly even 2,800. And I'd say that if gold did break out, if the financial powers that be lost control of the ability to manipulate the gold price, I'd say anywhere from 2,800 to 3,000, and I think 2,900 looks like a sweet spot. I would not be surprised to see gold go there within like a year. So I don't know if that, I think VU and I've talked about that. Is that more or less what you're looking at for like your first kind of stop off on the way up?
Yeah, first stop off is 25 to 2,800 is the first, then it's 3,300, then it's 3,600, then it's 4,800, and then we're on to 5,300, and then we're looking at a price point of 6,200, 7,300, and 9,000.
See, let me use a fib extension tool. That should all be in there. This is my favorite song. All right, so we got. Now this will have all the different extensions in there. Yeah, it goes up and up. Yeah, so I think the distortion here is going to boost those numbers, and it's going to do it geometrically. So 19 to 21, that is a 20% rise. So gold right now, arguably, is maybe even 20-30% lower than it should be without the actual breakout. So we'll see how it goes, but that's a look at gold. And that's going with, the gorilla has a lot of like, I don't want to use the term inside info because there's no such thing as inside info with gold. Like gold is a commodity. There's no company, you know what I'm saying? Like But let's say inside baseball, V's got that because you've been in metals since what, like, since you came out of the sack or what? You've been metals for 20 years.
Yeah.
So it came out of the closet, as it were. So that's that. We can take a quick look here. We got about 8 minutes left on the free to the public. So I'm going to give a quick preview. Okay. Let's see where of my algorithm that is actually programmed. And I spent a lot of, about once or twice a week, I talk to our coder down in Australia. And he's doing this for us. And if anybody, with us wants to have their code built, actually, the way it works with the algorithm is you make it manually. That's how I do it. I know I don't have the what is normally $5 or $6 grand. I mean, I do have it, but I'm not going to spend $5 or $6 grand to have somebody code something that I'm not sure works, right? Like, just throw together some chart stuff randomly and say, hey, maybe this will work. Let me pay this guy $5,000 to figure it out. Like, it doesn't make much sense. What I'll do is I'll develop an algorithm that, I will backtest it, and I will know that it works to a certain degree, right? And when I know it works to a certain degree after, anywhere from 20 to 100 tests, something like that, usually closer to 50 to 100, I will then be willing to pay a coder, and they will go ahead and they'll code it up, and then we can go ahead and test it on the computer and say, okay, this has this probability, that probability, right? So now this right here, what you're looking at is the coded algorithm, that white kind of creamy looking line there on the bottom. Let me zoom in. Let's make this a little more visible. All right, so I should have done that with gold, but that's fine. So you see this with all these zeros and stuff. Let's see if I can, I'm going to change some settings here. I don't think there's anything I could do about that. Let me just widen this out. Okay, so let me just stretch this out. Move this down here, and yet move it again. Move to new pane below. Widen this up. So now what you're looking at, like I said, this kind of chart here that's this creamy up and down, that's the algo itself. Up above there is the price chart. Okay, so that's the actual chart of the asset, in this case, the EUR USD. Now, the way this algo works, and I designed it, and he was giving me a compliment. He says, I've done this before, and I've designed a lot of these, and none of them were profitable. And I'm like, well, I've been doing this for a good 5 years. Let me see, a good 4 years at this. I've been trading since 2010, but really trading this manner since, say, 2017. And I've been doing this kind of thing, the algo thing, probably since 2019. So I better know what I'm doing by now, otherwise I'm in the wrong business, right? So when you see these triangles on the bottom in this current iteration of this algorithm, you see these triangles on the bottom, that means it's coming. This is almost time to enter. And then this arrow is the entry, right? So in this particular case, you enter right here, right? The stop loss is 1 ATR below, 1.5 ATR below entry, which is 11. So, well, it's 11 times 1.5. It's gonna be about 17, we'll say. So 17 pips below 79 is going to be 79, 69, 62. So 1.491. So we're going to do a 621. Stop loss. Stop loss right there. Right. And our take profit is going to be 1, 2, and 3 ATR above. So I'll just do the 3. Right, so our ATR we said was sitting at about 11, so 33 pips up from here is 80, 33, so it's 109.03, I think it is. 109.03. I'm just doing this quick. The benefit of the show. 33 pips up. All right, so that's our trade. So this is designed to where the computer just does it for me. So I'll walk away, and it's not programmed yet for that. I mean, it's pretty much there, but I want to do some testing first. But this is if I wasn't there, this would enter the trade. and take profit up here for me. And that is a 1.8 to 1 right there. So that's like I could shut this off at night, go to sleep, and this will enter this trade, put a stop loss down here, price will go up to there, it's 1.8 to 1, and it will do this every time that opportunity happens. And I can have this applied to any time frame. I can test this on any time frame. There is a strategy tester that we're working with, so let me see if I can do a quick preview of that. We'll go a little bit longer on this. Let me do this. Okay, so this is an indicator, so I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put on the strategy. He actually had me code this. I coded the strategy, which means I just added a few lines of code that he told me to add, so I'm not that special. Let me see here. But I'm learning on my own here. So here's a strategy. And there's a strategy tester. We need to do some work on this. We're not, I don't have any inputs as far as how much money I'm putting into it. But the basic numbers that have come out, the kind of a base algo, so this is not official, but we're looking at an average of 1.4 to 1 risk to reward with a 64.8% hit rate. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's talk about what that means in numbers. Okay, so 64.8%, 1.461. Okay, so 64.8%. Let me type that up so I don't forget it. 64.8%. And we said about 1.46, was it? So this is the hit rate, and this is the risk to reward. Now, mind you, this is still rather primitive. So what that means is that we need to refine these numbers. This is not quite official, but this is what it's spitting out right now. Now, if these are the numbers, and I think they're going to be better for a couple of reasons, they're going to be better. Number one, we're already applying filters that are going to improve this. So this is a work in progress. But what that means is that with the 1.46 risk to reward ratio, that means that, let's just say I put in $1,000, right? And I'm going to make, on average, I'm going to make $1,460 every time I do a trade, right? So if I'm risking $1,000, that means that, what that means is that, let's say the trade stops out, right? And I lose my money, I'll lose $1,000. But if I win the trade, it's $1,460, right? So that's basically what that means. Now, that works 64.8% of the time. So if I do 1460 times 64.8, I'm going to get my expectancy, and I'm just going to do math on a calculator for that. I don't feel like thinking that hard. Let's see here. Calculator. 1460 times 64. Actually, it's 1460 times 0.648, right? Because that's a percentage. So I'm getting, for every time I click that button, I'm making an average of $946. Right? Because if I was to lose, I'm losing 648 on average, because we're at a 64.8% hit rate. So that means that every time I click that button, I'm making an average of $946. Right? That counts my losses. That counts like when it goes way up and makes big wins, when it makes small wins. That's how that is right now. Mind you, again, this is very primitive information. This is very primitive data. So we're going to go through this. We're going to refine it. I may share it on this free live cast. I may not, but we're going to go deeper into the algorithm. We're going to do a few back tests today. But this is super exciting, folks. This is an algorithm that's a basic algorithm. This is a very easy one that I wrote that's not that complex. My guy coded it within a couple weeks. It didn't take him much time. And he's still like, he's getting faster and faster because he's a different kind of a coder, where PineScript was new to him. So he can do these now really quick. And long story short, this is a profitable thing I can walk away from and get these kind of wins overnight. It's a beautiful thing. It's what we're aiming at. It's why we're here. So for the moment, I'm going to go ahead and let the gorilla give us that send off. We're going to head over to our private group, but I do want to thank you all for coming on YouTube and listening to us. Gorilla.
Listen, guys, you got the keys to the kingdom right here. A skill that if you learn, you'll have the skills to pay the bills forever from anywhere on planet Earth. You could, as long as you have access to the internet, you could be trading and making money. This is the way. This is your key to financial freedom. This is your way for you to fire your boss. Think about it. You come over to Algo Factory, you grind it out with us, and then you go to your boss and you say, F off, go jump off a bridge, I'm out of here. Or you can just be nice. Hey, you know what? It's been surreal. It's been great. I'm done. I'm no longer punching the clock. I'm going to be punching my own clock. I'm going to be setting my own time limits. I'm going to be, doing what I need to do. I'm going to have full flexibility and freedom for myself and for my family. And that's that. You want to do that?
I don't mean to interrupt you. I know I yielded the floor to you, V, but there's also the option of I really like my job, so I'm going to keep it, and I'm just going to turn this on and let it roll in the background too.
That's true. That's true. If you like your job, right? Imagine you just turn on one of the algorithms that you built through us over here at Algo Factory, right? You go through Algo Factory. We build an algorithm. We hard code it into your platform, and you let it run. Imagine your algo clipping $100 a day, right? Just $100 a day, right? I'm not even talking about compounding it. I'm not even talking about doubling it. Just $100, right? Just something so menial as that. That's $36,000 a year, man. Right? Imagine getting a raise, going to your boss and be like, "Hey, can you give me a $36,000 raise?" They'll laugh at your face. But $36,000, man, that's a couple of nice trips. That's a nice car payment. That's money put away for investments. I mean, you could do a lot with an additional $36K. Okay, that's some breathing room. That's a nice little safety net. So think about that. Change your life. This is the way to do it. There's nothing out there that could radically change your trajectory than trading. So come on board and make it happen.